you're interested in selling your home, first thing that you want to do is have me come by and take a look at it. And together, you'll show me everything. We'll make a list of all of the things necessary, the fixes, the touch-ups, if there's anything that has to be changed out, the staging plan. We go through everything necessary so that your house looks in pristine condition when you list it. If decluttering needs to happen, we walk through, happy to help you set up somebody to come by, pack up your stuff for you, actually move it over to a storage space and bring in our own pieces. Typically, we'll bring in appropriate furniture so that your house looks like HGTV. We find that if you do everything the right way and remove or add things, that you can overcome anything spatially that needs to be overcome. Let me give you an example. If you have a massive dining room table that takes up the entire living room, we'll bring in a much smaller, modern table to make the room look bigger. So staging is important, decluttering is important, and then a general touch-up. Paint goes a long way. And honestly, it's probably after the decluttering, the first thing that you're gonna do. Sometimes you don't need an entire paint job. Sometimes if your walls are marked up, we can correct them. We touch up the trim and make sure that when the buyers come through, that everything looks the way that it should, because that's how you give the buyer the feeling that the home was well taken care of. And ultimately, it's how you get the most money. Whatever is gonna get the most money and make the home competitive is what we try to do. So tips that you should know, right, that people don't think of: look up at your central AC and see if the fan or the vent on the ceiling is covered in dust. You don't notice it, I don't notice it, but let me tell you, the buyer sees that. Open the laundry closet or the laundry room, look on the ground. You know how we all have dust bunnies? Getting all of that cleaned out, it goes a long way. It makes the buyer feel like you've taken care and serviced the home. Decluttering, right, in your closet. Anything that is seasonally incorrect that you're not wearing, you pack up, you get it out. You don't leave an empty closet because then it doesn't have any personality. But actually going through, and this is gonna sound crazy, color coordinating the closet, right? If you go in and you take everything, from black to gray and you do that throughout your closet, and then you put beautiful boxes in, and you line your nicest shoes up, and you get rid of all of your husband's excess crap that you have stuck in there, take the golf clubs out, load up your car, put everything in storage. It's gonna be a better experience, and you're gonna, ultimately get more money. Once we've got your home in pristine condition, we're gonna talk about pricing. And pricing is super important. You have to look at the market and what is currently the competition, right? Because nobody is looking at one property. Typically, they're going and they're looking at 6. And honestly, they're comparing them. And if the realtor is a good realtor, they're gonna set them up in order and ask the buyer, did you like this better or worse than the last property? So making sure that you're in the correct price range and you look the best when you're set up against these other 5 properties is very important. So we look at what's active. We will look at what is currently under contract. That's a great indicator of where similar units are trading, right? And we can generally get a sense through, making inquiries or even looking at how long the property sat on the market to come up with where we should price ourselves. There's generally a couple of different strategies. This is a market right now where it's important to price correctly. However, if you put your home on the market for too high of a price and you have a lot of traffic and you're sitting there and you're not getting any offers, right? The market ultimately sets the price. Sometimes, right, depending on how the market is moving, you'll go right under the price, that you think you should price it, so that you drive more traffic through the unit and get multiple offers to try to drive the price up. That works super well, but you can also really underprice a property, which I'm actually seeing happen now. If you have 25 offers and you've been on the market for 2 days, you probably could have priced it higher. And you have to remember that it's great when the property sells and it has a bidding war, but you're only able to drive a price up so high. Using a market expert, I think, is super important. The other recommendation I see listings that are put online that are virtually staged. And it was an exciting thing to do a few years ago. However, nobody's buying the property online, right? It's great that the virtual staging was there, but when the buyer gets to the unit and it doesn't have any furniture and it looks smaller than it did, they can't visualize how to put their things. It's very important not to list your home vacant with no furniture. Everybody thinks, oh my God, it'll look bigger when it's empty. But the truth is it looks smaller and people can't visualize. You gotta define spaces. Having a bed, a king-size bed in a room to show the buyer that yes, they can have their king-size bed. They can fit their end tables in here. And they even have room for a dresser, right? That doesn't happen when you have an empty unit. Also, make certain that you have a floor plan. People love floor plans. They can eliminate properties based on them. It's much better, and nobody needs extra people coming through. For some people, they want their bedrooms on other sides of the house, opposite sides. For some people, they want them stacked. They want to be next to their children. And it's great if you have a floor plan. Also, if you have a buyer that only wants an open kitchen. All of those things matter, and floor plans should be with every listing. The other thing we like to do is a 3D tour of the property. Everybody starts about 4 months before they ever look at a home looking online. And if you have a 3D tour and somebody can look and walk through the actual house, sometimes that gets somebody to come and look at it. It's almost like being in the house. It's crazy. So the 3D tour, the floor plan, pictures sell property. When you look online and you see a picture and it's sideways or blurry, like, who's going to look at that listing? Or if you don't have enough pictures and you only put one picture, immediately the agent, forget the buyer, but the agent thinks something's wrong with that property. You don't want to be the something is wrong with that property. You want to be the property that drives eyeballs and has a lot of traffic through so that you get the most money. Sometimes I go on appointments and the seller would prefer not to have open houses. They think that nobody ever buys anything from an open house, and I can tell you that you have agents that tell you, do not have an open house, it's just your neighbors looking at your stuff. I gotta tell you that that's not true. With open houses, and I've been having probably 30 a weekend for the past, 15 years, it means, right, that the agent, your listing agent, is standing in the unit, and other agents will send their buyers to the open house. Who better than me and then us to talk about your property? We know everything about it. We can highlight it. We're better at selling it. We're able to speak intelligently about the neighborhood, the building, the community, rather than leaving things to chance and letting an agent that perhaps is not from the market or that is new and doesn't have any experience and isn't going to explain that you have a convection oven or an induction cooktop. They don't even know what an induction cooktop is. So open houses get you exposure. They allow other agents, if they're busy, to send their buyer. The buyer can still sign in with their agent. We're better prepared and we just get more showings. Selling your home is a very stressful time. We try to take some of that stress away and make it as painless as possible.